Hello, and welcome to the introduction and instructions video for the Meiji Restoration simulation. This is a competitive game for an even number of players. Ideally, it would be one-on-one, but you could also do two-on-two, but you do need to have at least two players because you're going to have opposing sides. Several groups can play at the same time as long as each group has their own materials. And it can be used to help students better understand the Meiji Restoration of 1868 and the events leading up to it. To play this game, you'll need the following. Each player will need a Imperial Restoration Force card and a Tokugawa Forces card. So you would need two of these for each group, meaning a pair, right? Because one side will be the Imperial Restoration Forces, the other side will be the Tokugawa Forces. If you have groups that have multiple players, you still only need one card each. Power is the how many dice they will roll. If you want to increase or decrease that number, you certainly can. Taiketsu, that is a number that will be added as they win events, and so they would just mark on the card when that goes up. The answers, so they will be asked multiple choice questions and they have to choose what the answer is. So they should write this answer down, and then after the correct answer is announced, they would reveal it, and if they get it right, they get Taiketsu points. There are event cards, and they would draw, each group draws one per turn. You don't have each side draw, it's just one per turn because each one can affect the side, either side. So, for example, Imperial Restoration Forces import modern cannon. They would add an additional dice to their power dice pool for this turn's event. So they would roll 6 instead of 5. So you just need to have one drawn each turn. You need 12 six-sided dice per group. You can get by with 6 and share or use a dice rolling app if you want. And this is where you may want to consider reducing the number of dice. And it's also good to have some place for students to roll all those dice. And a success board is not necessary, but it does help to students keep track of failures and successes and easily compare to see who wins. So, but you would want to have one board for each player, right? So if you have a group of groups that are two, one-on-one, you would need two boards, one for each person. So for the rules, I said the simulation is made for two players, with one representing Imperial Restoration Forces. That's the Meiji people who want to restore the Meiji Emperor, and the other is the Tokugawa Forces. Each player is given a card for their forces. The number by power refers to the number of dice in their power pool, which is how many they roll whenever there is a contest. During a contest, each side rolls their dice, and everyone that comes up as a 4 or above counts as success. Each side counts the number of successes. For instance, if a person rolled a 1, 2, a 4, and 2 5s, that person would have 3 successes. Right, the 4 and the 2 5s. What counts as a success can change depending on the event that leads to the contest. Whoever has the most successes wins the contest and a Taiketsu point. If both sides have the same number, then each rolls again. So if you tie, you resolve the tie by rolling again. Each card also has a Taiketsu showdown bank for the Taiketsu pool. Taiketsu means showdown, kind of the final fight. Make a tally mark whenever you add to this pool. So you do that whenever you answer a question correctly or when you win a contest. So order of play, a question will be asked. Each person writes their answer on their card without letting anyone else see it. Then you count down, and then the students reveal their card to each other and then give the correct answer. Any player who gets a correct answer adds 1 to the Taiketsu pool, and then they draw a card randomly. An event then happens that requires a contest. So here's an example of a question, right? Who of the following was the one that forced Japan to open its doors to the outside world? Was it Townsend Harris, Ernest Satow, Matthew Perry, or Francois Leon Vernet? It was Matthew Perry. And like I said, the students draw a card. And then we would have an event like Commodore Matthew Perry has arrived. Imperial Restoration Forces want to use this opportunity to make the Shogun look bad, while the Shogun wants to try and look as strong as possible. The two sides have a contest, and the winner adds 1 to their Taiketsu pool. So again, there's no choice. You just roll the dice, and whoever has the most wins and adds 1 to their Taiketsu pool. Like I said, there's a tie, you roll again. So when you're completely done with the events, you have the final events, and this is just seeing, do you win the Meiji? Historically, the Meiji Restoration Forces were victorious. The Shogun lost, but we're going to replay that just for fun. And what happens is in this case, they roll the number of dice equal to their power, and they add the number of successes there to the taiketsu points they have. So the idea is that over time, they've been building up in power, right? They're either answering those questions or winning contests. So one side will have the advantage, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they will win because you still are rolling. But if restoration forces are victorious, a new Meiji restoration government is established. If the Tokugawa wins, they hang on to power, and the history books must be rewritten. So this is a fun review game. Students tend to like it, and it's fairly simple. So hopefully you'll have good luck with it in your class.